I'm finally calculating how much cash that I am going to spend for my flights and my hotels in Japan, and it actually comes to $669.32. Talk about traveling on a budget. Hi friends, my name is Sarah and welcome back to my channel. I thought in today's video I want to share with you how I plan to travel to Japan on a budget. But before I get into the video, I kind of want to explain to you a little bit what traveling on a budget means to me, because I feel like most people that hear that phrase probably think about hunting down the cheapest flights out there, or maybe staying at a hostel with a few other travelers, or even maybe doing some grocery shopping and actually cook for their own meals when they're traveling. But I want to present to you a different way of traveling on a budget by leveraging miles and points from the travel credit cards that are out there. That is kind of my own spin of traveling on a budget. Using my miles and points this past few months have been saving me a ton of money. So let me just share with you how many points I redeem for my flights to Japan and back, as well as for my hotel stays in Japan. Let's go. Let's start first with the flight that I am taking to Japan. Let me just tell you that traveling to Japan is definitely on my travel bucket list, and it's been there for a while, and I'm super excited to be able to check it off at the end of 2023. However, getting there on a business flight is also in my travel bucket list, and I'm going to check that off as well. So let me explain. Me and Ricky are going to fly business class on Singapore Airlines from LA to Tokyo. But one thing that you might not know is that we're actually going to be spending about 4 days in Singapore after we travel throughout Japan. And the reason why is because our final destination on our ticket is actually Singapore. So technically we are flying from LA to Singapore via Tokyo. And that is what most airlines call free stopover. I feel like there are a couple other airlines that are doing similar, if not the same way of free stopover. I know for sure that British Airways offer similar stopover. It's not in Tokyo, but it's gonna be in London because obviously British Airways, right? Anyways, this is actually super cool because we basically are paying for one ticket only, but we get to experience two business flights. Our flight from LA to Tokyo is gonna be on a business class, as well as our flight from Tokyo to Singapore. We're only basically redeeming points for one flight. And if you're wondering how much we are spending or we have spent in points, let me tell you. So for two people, we are spending 257,000 points plus $67.60 for the tax and the fees. Spending $67 out of pocket for two business class flights are ridiculously crazy in my opinion. And let me share with you how I'm able to collect 257,000 points on Singapore Airlines. And the way that I do it is I'm basically transferring my transferable points from my travel credit cards into Singapore Airlines. So I actually transfer 157,000 of my Capital One points into Singapore Airlines plus 100,000 points of my American Express points into Singapore Airlines. All in all, I have 257,000 points in my account, and then that's how I was able to book this flight, and I just paid $67.60 in taxes. So I booked this flight actually last year, I want to say in December. When you are trying to redeem points or like an award flight, spaces could be an issue if you wait until the last minute to do so. I honestly forgot to take screenshots. Maybe I do have it on my phone or maybe in my computer. I need to check it, but I just took down the prices in cash at the time, so I didn't have like a screenshot. If I were to pay cash for this specific flight from LA to Tokyo and then to Singapore, it was gonna cost me $7,554.40 per person, or $15,108.20 for two people. I don't know about you, even if I have a lot of money, I don't think I would ever spend $15,000 on a flight for two people, because now I know you can actually use miles and points to kind of reduce your travel expenses from $15,000 to $67. That is amazing. That is crazy. I am redeeming it, as well as many other people out there that have used these travel hacking methods for years, and I can't wait to share more with you. I'm definitely gonna share my experience and probably my review on this flight, so make sure to subscribe to my channel before you leave, and once I'm back from my trip at the end of 2023, I'll definitely give you an update on that. Okay, now you're probably wondering, how am I gonna get back to the US after going on a trip trip to Japan and to Singapore, and we're gonna basically go back the same way. We're gonna take another Singapore Airlines flight from Singapore to LA, but instead of spending a ton of points for this flight on a business class again, we're just gonna go on premium economy. The aircraft that is doing this route is the same one, so I definitely want to try and experience some other aircraft's business class, if that makes sense. So we're just gonna do the premium economy. So instead of spending over 200,000 points for the flight, we are spending 150,000 points. This is for 2 people, and the tax and fee come up to $64.78, which again, in my opinion, is pretty amazing, and it's definitely a win in my book. And the way that I got 150,000 points is by, again, transferring my transferable points from my credit cards into my Singapore Airlines account. And this is how I do it. I transferred 66,000 points from my Chase account into Singapore Airlines, as well as 85,000 points from my Citibank account into my Singapore Airlines account. And if you're wondering how do I know which bank transferred to which airline, I actually have a freebie you can download. It's always linked in all of my videos in the description box below. I basically have a list of all of the top 4 US banks and their transfer partners. With that list, you can actually get to see which banks actually transfer to some of these airlines and hotel loyalty programs. So if you want to plan your travel with miles and points in the future, you definitely would be able to know which card to apply for and which airline or hotel you can use your points with. I hope that makes sense. If you want me to do kind of like a video explaining the list that I have, let me know in the comment below, or like this video to let me know. I'll definitely would be happy to kind of walk you through this freebie that I have, because I think it's very, very helpful. Before I create this my own, I actually have to go back and forth logging in into my different bank accounts to make sure that they transfer to a particular airline or hotel, and it's just a lot of work, and I used to do it that way, and it annoys the heck out of me. So I decided one day to just sit down and take note of all of the transfer partners that the top 4 US banks have connection with, so I don't have to keep logging back in and out of my banks to figure out if I can transfer my points to a specific airline or hotel. It definitely helped me out, and I'm pretty sure it will help you when you're planning your travel with miles and points, so make sure to download it and check it out. Link is in the description box below. Now that we get the flights out of the way, let's talk about our hotel situation. So we're gonna be staying for 6 nights in Tokyo. I know that's probably a long time. We are staying at a Hilton property, and we're actually gonna spend 400,000 points for this hotel stay. And in my opinion, that is a lot of points. I mentioned a few times in previous videos that I did start with Hilton when I am trying to collect points, but I came to realize that their redemption rates are really high, pretty expensive compared to Hyatt, let's say. So I'm trying to kind of find a way to burn all of my Hilton points so I can transition to Hyatt basically. So I'm gonna be using the rest of my Hilton Honors points, which was 290,000 points for this stay. And I actually never mentioned this before, but me and Ricky has a timeshare with Hilton, and it is also kind of like a point-based system, and we can actually convert our timeshare points into Hilton Honors, and the conversion rate is pretty good in my opinion. It's 1 to 16. So we're gonna be using 110,000 points from that conversion, so we can actually make the 400,000 requirements for 6 nights in Tokyo. And if we were going to pay cash for the 6 nights, it was actually gonna cost us $2,799.02, which is crazy. And I want to mention as well that when you are redeeming points with Hilton, and if you are staying at least 5 nights, you actually get 1 night free. So they are charging us 400,000 points, but that is technically a rate for 5 nights, so we get 1 night free, which is not that bad. When I was sharing this plan to my mom, she was saying, why are you staying in Tokyo for so long? There are other places that you can stay in Japan, and that is very, very true, but I just want to make sure we have a lot of time, and I actually do have a lot of things on my list that I want to see in Tokyo. I am probably gonna do another video pretty much in the next couple weeks or so, kind of sharing what I plan to do in Japan for 12 days. So if you want to see how I plan my time in Japan as of like right now. I'm sure the plans will change. Make sure to subscribe because I'm still kind of in the middle of make sure I write down everything that I have planned so I can actually talk about it in a video. So there are actually 2 more hotels that I want to talk about in this video, which is for the hotel we have in Osaka and in Kyoto. So for this last 2 hotels in Japan, for Osaka and Kyoto, we're not going to be using points for it, but we're going to be using our Capital One Venture X $300 annual travel credit. Me and Ricky has the card separately, so we basically have $600 to spend for our hotel in Osaka and Kyoto. So we're gonna be staying 2 nights in Osaka. We were gonna pay $454.24 for the stay, but because we have $300 credit, we're only gonna be paying $154.24, which again, in my book, that is a win. I'm so excited to use that. And then we're gonna be staying 2 nights in Kyoto, and our hotel was gonna cost us $528.70. And because we have that second $300 travel credit from Capital One, we're gonna be using it for this stay, and we're only gonna be paying $228.70 out of pocket. Those are the miles and points that I plan to use for my flights and most of my hotels in Japan. And let me just summarize them for you. So for our flights, we are basically spending 407,000 points and $132.38 for the taxes and the fees. But if we were gonna pay cash for this flight, we were gonna spend $19,664.96. And like I mentioned before, even if I have a lot of money, even if I become a millionaire in the future, I don't think I would ever spend this much on a flight. Now that I know I can actually leverage my miles and points to actually buy these flight tickets in the future. So for the hotels, like I mentioned earlier, we are staying in Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, but I didn't include the 1-night stay in an onsen that I planned in Kobe. I might have about $500 to $800 extra expenses. I didn't include it in this calculation just because I can't even use my miles or my points or even my travel credit. But basically, I would spend 400,000 points for my hotel stay and $536.94 in total. And if we were to pay cash for all of these 3 hotels, the total is gonna be $3,761.96. And honestly, I am just speechless that we come to this calculation. And I definitely want to let Ricky know because I don't want to hear from him complaining about me opening another travel credit card, because we basically only spending in cash $669.32 for our flights and for our hotels in Japan. And if we were to pay cash out of pocket without any travel credits or without any points for the flight and the hotel, we were gonna spend $23,426.92. That is insane. I know, it's crazy. Like, I don't think I would ever go to Japan if I was gonna spend that much money on my flights and hotel alone. And if you're wondering how many points we actually spend for the flights and the hotel, the total is 807,000 points. Over 800,000 points is actually a lot of points. Keep in mind that I've been opening travel credit cards since 2021, and I've been kind of accumulating them to actually go on this Japan trip, and it's taken me a couple years to actually redeem the points. So this whole thing is almost like 2 years in the making. It's not just like over 3 months to collect this much points, but I definitely have learned so many things from planning this trip and also just immersing myself in the travel hacking community. So if you want to learn more about travel hacking, make sure to subscribe to this channel, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I will link them in the description box below, but I will also include some of the other travel hacking channels that I follow on mostly Instagram, and they have been doing this for years. And if you want to learn from the actual pro, definitely check them out. I will leave all of their links down in the description box below as well. And I'm super excited to actually make our way to Japan at the end of this year. Let me know your thoughts about traveling to Japan on a budget using miles and points. If you are planning your very first trip to Japan as well, let me know by liking this video or leave a comment below, because I would love to know what is your experience so far planning your trip to Japan. Is it exciting? Are you nervous? Are you shocked that you can actually save this much money with miles and points when you're traveling to Japan? I'm gonna have a couple more videos before I actually get to Japan about how I plan my very first trip to Japan. And if you want to know how I plan it, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss those videos. If you want to learn more travel hacking tips that I have done in the past, make sure to watch one of these videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!